So sometimes when we're creating our assemblies, we want things to go together in a certain way. There's nothing else really in the right spot to make the joint. So let's say I have this piece here and I want to stick it in the hole here, but I want this bottom edge to be centered in the slot. So it's narrower than the part. I want it to line up perfectly right there. But if I try and do a joint, there's no point at the bottom. I could, grab there, then there, and then drag it down. That's not going to guarantee that the bottom is always going to stay lined up with the bottom of that other piece. So in these cases, we can do what's called a joint origin to create a new origin there wherever we want it to be. So if I go into the symbol, joint origin is right there. And it doesn't like it when it moves stuff around, so I'm going to revert that back to where it was. And since I want that to be right in the middle, I'm going to use the between two faces option. I'll pick these two sides, plot, and for the snap, I'm just going to pick there. Now it's going to give me my origin kind of in the normal orientation. It's along the edge, it's going to be perpendicular to that edge. And I can use this here if I want to, because I can just pick the edge here. I can also go into reorient and tell it to be facing a different direction. So if I can pick that, now I can pick the z-axis. I can, if I go onto a flat face, it's going to change the circle to line up that flat face. I can pick there. But on this one, actually easier to pick the edge on this piece, so I'm just going to keep it there and say OK. So there's the joint origin. And you can see the joint origin be up under this box. There it is, joint origin. It actually put it into that component because I used only things from that component to make it. Sometimes if you use another plane, then it might put it into the main main component side. So also sometimes a good idea to activate the component before you do the joint origin. If you're going to be referencing one of the origin planes or something like that. But now I can use my joint, grab the center of that, go to there, and flip it over. I should pick the bottom edge, right? There we go. And now that piece is there. And if I have this box that I ground, I can change this joint. Be a slider if I wanted it. Just switch the direction to be that way. Now I can slide that in and out, but it's always going to stay centered and lined up at the bottom of the piece. So another common use of this is that if we want to joint something to the origin. So if I look at my origin here, it's right there. So I'm going to turn off this box so it's better. But my origin point is there, but if I try and joint something to that, so if I pick here, I go over my origin, here, my second thing, I go to my origin, I go here or I go here. It's always going to be in the direction of the z. So it's going to be, the circle is going to be on the xy, and it's going to be facing the z direction. But if I want it to be able to go up, then I need to reorientate that. So I'm going to go cancel, and I'm just going to turn that off so I can see what I'm doing. In a symbol, joint origin. I'm just going to snap to the origin. And you can see that's the direction it wants to go. I'm going to tell it to reorient it. And I'm going to pick, I'm going to kind of hover over, yeah, that's the way I want it to go. So I'm going to click there and say OK. Now I can do my joint on the top of this, there, and it moves it over, and it's in the right spot for me. So that's a real common use of the joint origin, just to change which direction the actual origin is when you want to line something up to it. I also do that same thing. Maybe I want the middle of this whole thing to be there. If I do an origin, get to the middle of the part there, and now I've got this centered on it. I can also use the joint origins for lining things up. So let's say I want this thing to be here, and I want this edge of it be in a certain distance. So I'm going to go ahead and create a joint origin part. I'm just going to put it there. Then I'll tell it to come over however far I want. So let's say I want it over 3/4 of an inch from that edge. So it's not at the midpoint, it's just a little bit shy of it. Now when I put in my joint, I can joint from that point there to this joint origin, and it's always going to be there. And actually, I want that bottom edge, right? There we go. If I want to move that over, I can just go into that joint origin. I told I want it to be 6 over. I'm going to move that origin over on that part. So it's going to give me a really good ability to control where something is going to line up kind of ahead of time. I can plan, okay, I want this to be lined up over here, create an origin there, so that way I just snap it to it and I don't have to start adjusting it as I'm thinking. All right.